All right. Forex Fridays. Welcome. Good morning. It is, let's see. Yeah, April 8th. April 8th. Took away, I deleted a lot of my prediction arrows and stuff from Tuesday, from last Friday. Just started using my charts in a different way. So a lot of the stuff that I had marked off for Tuesday or whatever that I kind of wanted to look at today is gone, but that's okay. We will manage. Anyway, it's Friday. Oh man, I hope everyone's had a good week. I have had kind of a pretty good week. Yesterday finished off really good. So let's jump into it. Let's just jump right into it. Let's do some top-down analysis. Actually, let's check the news. Quiet today, obviously, but also mainly all week long, it's been fairly quiet. Australia started out on Monday with quite a little jump with the RBA statement. Tuesday, PMI, Brenner talk, wasn't really much even here on Tuesday. Wednesday, we had the FOMC meeting minutes. It didn't really do a whole lot to the market. I know a lot of people were expecting. I started seeing YouTube lives start popping up with all the traders that were like, "Oh, we're gonna watch the FOMC minutes and stuff." And I mean, we did get movement. Don't get me wrong; it wasn't like it was just a stale market and it was just whatever choppy. It got really silent right before the meeting minutes, and then as the news was coming in, it was slightly jumpy. If you were in some smaller day trades, you might have gotten some good action on it. And then yesterday all was good. Unemployment claims for U.S. Came out. It was really good numbers. Natural gas was good numbers. Yellen came out and actually said she wants to regulate crypto. That was not a good thing for the most part, but it didn't really make the market, jump too much. So yeah, right here it says Yellen says government regulation is needed to police the proliferation of cryptocurrency and other digital assets. And I know the market, especially the stock market or even crypto, I didn't really watch it all that much, but probably didn't like that kind of news. And also, yesterday morning, there was some Ukraine news that came out. Let's see if I can't find it. It kind of made the market jump a little bit. I probably had to go back a little bit further. But the terms Ukraine sent their terms in for, I guess, peace or whatever. I'm trying to think. Where's it at? Let me go to more here. I don't want to say it wrong. It was about 24 hours ago. There it is. Lavrov, Ukraine presented new proposals, which were different from Istanbul ones. So they had new proposals sent in. When this news came in, it made the market move. Let's go into a low time frame, and I'll show you on the 3-minute chart for sure. I was actually in the market at this time. I got stopped out, and that's what happens. So you had this 5-minute rip chart, make it look even better. So this candle right here, it was Ukraine news. I even had a note that was on here that I took a picture of. It said Ukraine news. I was in this. It was making the move the way I wanted it to. Probably should have already been moved to break even, but I hadn't. This was only a 4-pip stop. This comes in, snaps me out, comes back down, and then makes another move back up, trying to continue forward. We'll get into this trade a little bit, these couple of trades here in just a little bit, but this is the reason why you for one, if news is coming out, FOMC or some type of policy, bank statement, something. If you're in a day trade, you need to just hang out. You need to either close profits, whatever, move your stop losses into break evens and whatever profit you have, or mitigating risk, whatever, in that sense. If you're in a day trade, if you have a small stop loss, if you're in a swing trade, you can probably handle some news, because this was only about 10 pip, 30, wow, 27 pip stop. But if you're already in a swing trade and you've been in a swing trade for a little bit, you're more than likely, your stop's probably way on up in here or something, and you're in profit or whatever. You might want to mitigate some risk, but for the most part, for longer term swing trades, you're probably going to be okay. You probably are in it with a smaller lot size, and your risk is a little bit more conservative. So, but day trades, on the other hand, not the case. And even though I didn't know this news was coming out, it was live news. It just kind of popped up. It wasn't like we were anticipating it in any way. But that's what happens. And that's the reason. This is the same kind of candle that you would get with FOMC meetings, like right here. These are the meeting minutes on Wednesday, April 6th. Those are the meeting minutes. 1 o'clock correlates right there, right? 1 o'clock. So you get this, you're moving down, right? But then you get this nice snap up, and then it continuation in the direction in which you wanted it to go. But this wick right here would have taken you out. If you were in a little short starting from here and your stop was above that, you're gone. If you're in a short right here and you're looking pretty good, bam, you're probably stopped out. So it's the reason why you do have to pay attention to some news when you're day trading. Let's go back to the news real quick. Today, you got Canadian employment change and unemployment rate, but that's really the only thing on the radar. Everything else has already been put in. Numbers are good. So if we look ahead next week, starting right here, presidential election in France. That'll probably make the euro pop. So we'll pay attention to that on Sunday, which I'm not in the market right now on Sundays anyways, but yeah, might need to pay attention to that. The rest of Monday doesn't seem like it's all that much. You do have a bunch of pound stuff in here, but it's not too concerning. Judging by the colors on these files right here, on these right here, it wouldn't be concerning. Some of the GDP month over month, good trade balance, stuff like that, I would kind of be watching around at London Open. I'm in bed at that time, so I won't be in any trades more than likely. So that's not something I'd be worried about. And then the rest of Monday is fairly quiet. Nothing for the US dollar, not even a holiday. Tuesday, CPI month over month, core CPI. These will make the market pop. It would look similar to those wicks that I was just showing you. It's not going to be a crazy, 120 pip move to, in one direction or the other, but it will be a good 20 to 50 pip, not even 50 probably, but 20 to 30 pip, snap in a certain direction, a retracement, and then either a continuation to close out whatever orders remain in that wick, or, a continuation in the direction in which it was going in the first place. So then that's on Tuesday. This right here will give the New Zealand dollar and maybe a little move to the Australian dollar right here, or the RBNZ rate statement. That will make it move. CPI for the pound. And then, yeah, Canada, this is going to make it move. So, yeah, we got some good news. It's going to be some movement. USPPI, Australian unemployment change, Euro main refinancing rate, monetary policy statement, and Thursday, ECB press conference. That will be at 7:30, and that'll probably make some moves go there. It'll definitely probably overshadow whatever these retail sales are for the dollar. And then really nothing on Friday, but yeah, a lot of news that could definitely send the market into some, to give it a reaction to the market. So we just have to really just pay attention to these times. Mainly all this stuff's coming out between 7:30 and 10 o'clock my time, Central. Yeah, 7:30 to 10. Yeah, Central Time, Central Standard Time. The New Zealand dollar will be 9 p.m. overnight for me. Australian dollar right here, unemployment change 8:30. That's Central Standard Time for me, which is about 6 hours behind the UK. So you're looking at evening time for you over there. Early in the morning. Yeah. Just had to pay attention to this every day when I open up my charts. It's TradingView. It's usually TradingView, Slack channel, Forex Factory. Those are the three things that I open up on the internet right away. If I'm doing my trading, those are the three things I open up right away. So, but we'll pay attention to the news. Let's do some top down. All right, we're right here on the weekly chart. You can see we've had this trend line on the weekly chart. Now on the monthly chart, this trend line is a little bit higher. These are wicks, and it actually breaks on the monthly chart. And being a higher time frame, the monthly chart probably will signal this weekly chart to break down as well. However, if you go to the monthly chart, you know, I'm not a trend line on the wicks guy, so we can put this up here on the weekly chart, and you'll notice that this is way up in here, about right there. Yeah. So this was the break right there on a weekly chart. I mean, on a monthly chart. But on the weekly chart, we are just now getting down to this trend line, and I actually believe we would get a bounce. I can see us getting a bounce back to this trend line. Let's see what it does around this trend line. Maybe we get some further down motion. If we break back above it, then we will probably continue to the upside or continue this pennant. You can see that because that's what it looks like we're doing. We're squeezing in right there. If this could just be a false break of the pennant to the bottom side, you know, it's like a 60 to 70% of the time is what usually it looks like. And usually I'm in a long position taking a bounce here. used to, yeah. But I would assume, and I know you probably shouldn't do that a lot of times, but I would assume that we drop back down to the weekly chart. I'm going to get rid of these drawings, squeeze this up a little bit, move my trend line back to where it was, put it back on the wicks. Not the wicks. I said that. Did I say that out loud? Put it back on the bodies. All right. Yeah, good there. Good there. Yeah, pretty solid here too. So as you can see, we are getting down here. We've actually already started a small rejection of that trend line. Let me get rid of this. Small rejection of this trend line right here. We've gotten down close to the touching part. I could probably squeeze this up to this body a little bit more, and we're probably touching on that line there. But on the weekly chart, as you can see, it looks like we are right here. We've already respected it once. Looks like we're coming around for the second time. If we happen to bounce, then I would consider us retesting, coming up to retest the monthly trend line. If we break through the monthly trend line, then we are probably coming back to this pennant ish. Right there. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. We're bouncing right here at the bottom of this weekly. So in this case, even though we have broken a monthly trend, I am going to be on the weekly right here, even though it's a higher time frame than the daily and the 4 hour. That's where I'm going to be looking for longs. I've been saying this for a little while now. You know, we've done the Dixie breakdowns and stuff. I've been trying to say that the Dixie is going to break down. The dollar index is breaking down. We're going to come up and retest this, and we're going to have further downside. We've been moving upwards for, you know, quite some time. And we are getting into a zone right now. stretch that out just a little bit. We are getting into this larger zone. Not only are we getting into that larger zone, we are actually getting into the 50% spot of that larger zone. So let's do that. We are getting close to that. Come on. There we go. There you go. Change that to black. All right. So we're getting close to this 50% spot. You know, we could come up and wick. I am looking for the dollar to roll here. Now, you know, the dollar has beaten me on some occasions, and because I was assuming because of the higher time frames that this is going to be going short, we haven't done it. So I'm still looking for some type of turnaround. Now, the dollar can still keep taking my money at times because of this momentum to the upside, but I'm going to look for some slowdown and then a turnaround in this area. I just feel like we get something like this. Oops. Yeah, something like this. There. We get something like that. That's what I'm kind of looking for in the dollar. A long term. So, you know, we can still have some more upside to it on the short term. But I don't know. I think we bounce. Just judging by this weekly Euro USD chart, I think either the euro gets super weak, pretty strong, or the dollar starts weakening. And if those two things happen at the same time, then you're going to get a good move to the upside in that pennant, Euro USD. This is a strong bearish candle to the downside from yesterday. So look for, not yesterday, this is on the weekly. Look for either a little bit of pullback. I don't know. I just don't see this breaking through this trend line. Completely my prediction. Again, if you go to the monthly's already broken a trend line, it can continue. I just feel like we're getting down to this area. I'm looking for some type of bounce. This is the second touch on this trend line. If this doesn't break through, then we're more than likely going to start making a retracement. Drop it down to the daily. You know, it's taking forever to get down here too. So remember, we spent a lot of time in this area, like good 2 months in this area. And now we're down here. We created some more consolidation. We've just broken to the lower side of this consolidation. You consider that because I would consider this structured break to the downside here. But as you can see, momentum is slowing down around this trend line, and we could easily retest this zone, if not a higher zone up in there. So this is that's what I'm looking for. We already started to bounce today. We've come down overnight, tapped near or on this trend line, and now we are starting to pull back some. So look for further pullbacks. I am looking for further pullbacks in the dollar, in the Euro USD today. So obviously this candle doesn't have to be huge or anything. And I would assume it's not. It's a Friday. There's not a lot of news going on. Well, the Canadian dollar has some okay news coming in, but for the most part, when it comes to the Euro USD, there's not a lot of news coming in on this pair. So I would really be looking for a bounce off this trend line. Bring it into the 4 hour. We did have this big, huge break of structure. And it's not that I'm not saying that there's no further downside in the Euro USD. I just feel like we're going to get a pullback. We've broken structure, extended the move. Now I just feel like we're right here at this longer term trend line. And I feel like we've got some imbalances that we're going to have to close out if there is going to be further decline. Because, you know, before it made this move down, look how it came all the way back up in here and closed out these imbalances. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about market imbalance, this is something that you can really pay attention to for targets entries where you might think price is going to. So an imbalance to me, see this candle right here. Let me draw that a little bit closer to the candle. This candle right here. All right, this candle right here. Let me get my drawing pad a little bit closer to me. Arm is a little sore. And softball game, some practice this week with my middle school softball team that I help with. And I kind of used the throwing arm maybe a little bit too much. So I've got some soreness coming in the shoulder, a little bit around the elbow. So stretching that arm out is not a good thing today. All right. Imbalances. This candle right here comes down. The bottom of this candle stops right there. This candle comes in, puts its price in. And when this third candle comes in, right, it pops up, it drops down. This area right here is an imbalance. It's inefficiency in the market. There are open orders within this candle that have not been closed. And it's kind of the, some type of market theory. I don't even know what to call it or where to look for it at. But I wish I did. It'd probably be smart of me to find out. But this right here, this imbalance, you've got open orders. All right, this huge move away from this area right here. Institutions, big banks move these monies around, send price where they want it to go. Sometimes they move it fast, in which they cannot close out orders. So they've come out, they've taken some buy orders here to close out and stop out people up in this area, and then it moved sharply away from that zone. Now, because this has happened, they have open long position orders all throughout this candle, mainly in this area, okay, in which price would need to come back up, close out before going further down where they want it to go, where the institutions want price to head to. So that is what I'm talking about with an imbalance. The way you look for them, I'll show you again. The bottom of this candle, wherever the wick stopped, wherever price went its lowest. And then this candle, and then this candle comes in right here. So we're looking at 3 candles, all right? First candle, the bottom of it, we have a large candle coming in second time. And then this candle comes in and does not completely come up to close out and touch this wick. So you have this huge gap in price in which there are a bunch of open orders. That is an imbalance. And I feel like we have a lot of imbalance in this move down, in which we should get a bounce off of this trend line to come back up and start closing out these imbalances. Not all of them. I'm not saying it has to close out all of them. Let me squeeze that out just a little bit. There we go. Go back to my drawing tool. So if I'm taking, let's say I'm taking a long trade from down here off this trend line. Say I take a long, I'm looking for it to go to the upside. I will target places like this right here. All right. That's the top of this imbalance, which has been tapped into twice, a couple of times actually. All right. But we still have this area in which we probably have some open orders. Also, this area has been tapped into. This area has not. And then all the way up here. All right. This is where I think that if you're looking to draw out stuff, all right, this is how I look at predicting where I think price may end up going. This is it. That's what I look for. I look for these imbalances. I say, okay, price will come up here because it needs to, and then we'll probably close out some of these orders and make a return down and close out whatever orders that were left behind, and then we're going to go up and we're going to start hitting these imbalances, and it's going to come back down and start closing out some of these prices. That's where you get these waves. This is just totally me. That's where you get these waves. That's the reason price reacts the way it does. Look at this huge imbalance right here. Right? This is a big candle right here. And there's a huge imbalance. What did price do? It moved away from it. All right. It moved away from it. But eventually it came back down to close out everything in this area right here. Everything. Price came away from it, closed out. Clear that out. Why did price come all the way up to here? Well, look at this imbalance right there. Let's go ahead and do this with a box. Look at that imbalance right there. What did it do? It almost closed it completely out before moving away from it. Why? Because there are no real imbalances left in this move. This right here is closed out. To the top of this, it closed out this imbalance. There might be some up in this area, but all of this in this zone right here has been closed out. Once this came up and basically closed out everything here, it made a move strongly away from that zone. That is how I look at imbalances. In which I think price is where I think price can go. All right. 4-hour chart. We are bouncing off this trend line. Coming back into this area. I will look for, again, price to kind of make a move. If we get breaks of structure in this area, if price comes up, breaks structure, comes back, I will look for some long positions after we break this structure. This is on the higher time frame. These are going to be for the longer term trades, good swings, and I will be targeting areas up in here, getting close to this area up in here because of the imbalances below that zone. All right. Now let's go into a closer look on the EURUSD and look at recap a couple of the trades that I took yesterday. I already told you about the Ukraine trade, so this is the reason why I was in it. We had this break of structure on this impulsive move down. I went to the smaller impulse, the lower half of this impulse for this break of structure to start taking a trade in the morning. And there's a bunch of different reasons it correlated with about 3 other dollar currency pairs, in which I thought this was the reason. This is the area in which it would be coming down. But we've got this impulsive move away from this consolidated zone. This impulsive move broke this longer term structure, which was way over here, right? We had a long consolidation area. We popped up, we slammed down. Okay. This grabbed all this liquidity here, and then we started this large consolidation. Then we broke, and here's where we broke structure. This is where I wanted price to come back up to for me to take a sell. It comes back up. I always go to the 50% of these zones. And how I create these zones is basically if we have a large impulsive move down, I'm just telling you it all today. Large impulsive move down. I create a zone where the impulsive move started, and where it started is basically the last up move before the down move. Okay. The last candle that goes up before the impulsive move down. That's where my zone is. You notice this yellow box encompasses this entire last white candle. Okay. Take this off. I don't want to get it too nasty in here. So I just kind of circle everything, and then I wait and I see where price is turned around. Well, guess what? Now we have this turnaround in price. And we started moving back up. And this is a nice impulsive move. But what does it leave behind? Look at all of the imbalances in here that it left behind. This candle to this candle. This candle to this candle. This candle to this candle. So we've got a lot of prices. This is a strong move up. We've got a lot of price right here that's just wide open. Right? Why did it move up this strong? Well, look at all the imbalances. You know, this huge imbalance here, this imbalance right there. It just kind of moved away, had enough. Plus, it broke structure, and you had a lot of liquidity down here in which it grabbed and took to the upside. I set my buy-in 50% of this box. So I know I've been showing you all that lately. So I get 50% of this box. Let me move it over here. And as you can see, that's where my buy-in relatively is. Okay. I get triggered in. Everything's looking great. And we start to make a small little pullback. But, you know, these are natural. Pullbacks are natural in the market. We had a nice move down. We started to pull back. Looked like we were going to roll, and then Ukraine news. Ukraine news snapped me out. And mind you, this is a 4 to 24. Like this is a 6-to-1 reward risk trade. So I'm risking 4 pips to make 24 pips, almost 25 pips. So I'm perfectly fine with this trade. Even losing on this trade is perfectly fine with it. Ukraine news tags me out. Price comes all the way back down to where it started at, and then makes the move back up to the top, starts consolidating, closing out any open orders that were on the way down here. I saw another trade. I actually got into another trade right about here. Reason being was this big, huge candle right here. I ended up, let me get this off screen. So I ended up taking a trade right about here, which is about the 50% of this huge candle right here. All right. And if you go into half of this box, yeah, it was just below 50%. Started turning around. I know I was above this white candle, but it was right around this turnaround. I ended up getting into this trade. Maybe it was at the bottom of that, this first black candle right here. Maybe that's where I got in at, somewhere right in there. Took a short down here. It was looking very good, and then snapped me out for another 4 pip loss. I think I was here. I think it was only a 4 pip loss, 4 or 5, because I think I was just right above in here. I didn't go to the top of the box. Maybe I was on a lower time frame. It was only 4 or 5 pip loss. I didn't take a big loss here. Let me make sure I wasn't on a lower time frame. Yeah, I was probably on a lower time frame. I was probably targeting the top of this or even a 1-minute chart. I've been known to jump it. Nope, send that back. I don't know. Maybe it was an 8 pip loss, because I know this was a 10 pip stop here, because I went to the top of an area, top of this candle right here, above that candle. So I had more room up in there. Can't remember now. Either way, I was only down. It was less than, I thought it was less than 10 pips after these 2 losses. Pretty sure it was. Probably got a picture of it somewhere. Let me go over here to Slack. I'm on the other screen. Me and Dean yeah, here it is. I won't be able to throw this over here without sharing a new screen. I don't want to do that. So just give me a second. No, yeah, it was a larger stop. I did target, I was above the top of this candle. I don't know if I may have moved my stop loss. Yeah, no, I had my stop above this wick. So it was but I definitely got in right about here, and my stop loss was above that wick. So it was about it was a 10 pip stop. Okay. So I'm down about 14 pips right here. And then this impulsive move that stops me out starts to roll back over. I have, already I'm okay with taking another trade here, because I just believe that this is coming down. I'm going to take this big, huge yellow box off the screen. And I got in right here at the breakdown of this. It was a market in order. And then I placed my 10 pip stop above this, and it just slammed down. And I held on to this all day long. Basically ended up taking, I think it was 62 total pips out of this trade. Maybe. I don't think it was over here. It was in the middle of the day. So it might have been right at 60 pips. I thought it was 62 total. So maybe this is a little bit off on my broker. Anyway, either way, Or maybe I was just up 62 pips, whatever, early in the morning. Anyways, I was up. This was a great trade, long trade. Just kind of let it sit. I was in the classroom, just kind of glancing over every now and then, and I closed it out. Down in here, it was before the end of the school day because I remember closing it out at school. So it was down in here when I closed it out, and was very obviously happy with this trade. So I was down 14, and let's just say 60. So I was up 46 pips, right? 45 pips ish after this large trade. So I take a loss, took a big win. And that's kind of the situation that you get in sometimes, you know. I had a good reason to be in this trade. News took me out. It wanted to keep climbing. Ended up getting in another trade here based off of this zone, and looks great. Could have probably moved my stop to break, even if I wanted to. Probably didn't even have to take any kind of a loss on this trade. Take a 10 pip loss. Need to manage that one better. And then got back in this trade and all the way down. Pretty solid day. Just on the Euro USD. 3 trades all in the morning time, starting at, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8:30. As soon as I got out of this trade, I got right back in. So, and price is still down here, and we can go to a lower time frame, and we can probably start finding zones and imbalances in which we could probably take some trades. And that's really what I like about this new strategy, is that you're constantly in the market. You constantly can be in the market if you want to, and you can do it with one currency pair. So me and Dean are going to be putting together a Forex webinar based on this strategy, and more, but for the most part, just on the strategy to get it out there, because it's a pretty powerful way to trade. It's just, it's a little advanced, but it's a pretty powerful way to trade. And you can really just look at one pair if you wanted to. Let's go to the pound dollar, back to the weekly, go to the pound dollar, actually US dollar CAD, weekly trade, weekly dollar CAD. All right. Long-term sideways, short-term down move. Nice consolidation right here on the weekly chart. If we were to put a trend line right here at the body of this candle and trace it up through here, you can see we would have been broken. It would have already been broken, but the dollar has come back looking like it's going to retest this trend line and see if we're going to break through. This week looks like it's going to finish strong. Yeah. If we continue to finish, if the dollar stays strong against the CAD here, and we do have some news on the CAD, so you got to be careful if you're doing anything with the dollar CAD. I would not trade this today. Let's just see how, if the dollar keeps this push going, right? We've come down here, we've grabbed some liquidity here, and now we've moved back up. Let's see if the dollar stays strong, retest this trend line. If it stays strong and we actually close above this last bearish candle, then I would assume this is going higher. Just drop it into a daily. Yeah, look at that. Look at that candle right there. You already had this one, and it was pretty nice. It already got under here, grabbed some liquidity or whatever, and it looked like it was going to go from that point. And then this one right here comes down, gets all of these people that are like, we're going long, and then snaps, and then eventually goes long. So you got all these traders get stopped out, and they're looking at it like, oh my gosh, look at what I just could have been in. And they're probably taking trades up here, probably just going to come back and then go, no, I'm just playing. That's how trading works, right? We do have some imbalance in this area right here, right before this impulsive move. So price, this is exactly what I look at. All right. So I'm going to do 2 different boxes right here. This is going to be my imbalance box. Oh, come down here and get it. Imbalance box. So this is the area in which I would assume price was going to want to come tap into. Now it could easily go all the way through this, close out all these other orders and keep going. But this zone right here, you can probably take the top of this wick, and I know it's a large zone, but you can probably take the top of this wick right there, and I'm gonna change the color of it. We're gonna make it blue, and this would be kind of like that order block type of zone. Go to a lower time frame, you can refine this even more. But on the daily, I would assume price is going to want to tap into here. Look at that 50% of this box. It could easily tap into that, come up, touch this blue box, and then, you know, retrace down, giving a double bottom, and then moving on the daily. But even if you went 50% of this entire box, of the blue box, right, this would be someplace I would be eyeing, right? That would be the place in which I would think price would want to come back to completely before making its further move down. And if it breaks up, break structure here, then obviously I think we're going a little bit higher. But those are the zones on the daily in which I'd be looking for. Drop on down to the 4, see if we can refine this anymore. Yeah, look at this nice impulsive move here. So at some point, we're going to get a small little pullback and this return up. And I would assume we'll get some type of wick into this area before moving up further. Yeah, look at that imbalance. Let's put an imbalance box right here. And it coincides with that 50% line that I have. Yeah. All right. That just gives me more reason to think the price wants to come here. Okay. I mean, it does. It just gives me more reason. On the 4 hour, you've got this last up move before this down move, leaving this imbalance in the market right here on this large candle. I would just think price is going to want to work its way back up into this zone. Sorry. And then maybe a longer term move down from this area once it grabs this price. But that's what I'd be looking like on the dollar CAD. I didn't take any trades on the dollar CAD this week, I don't think. I don't remember. I don't think I did. So I'm not going to go get any closer to the dollar CAD right here. Just know that, you know, you've got CAD news. There's so many other currency pairs that you could be looking at. So there's no reason to even really bother with the dollar CAD today, especially this morning. I would wait till the CAD comes out with its employment numbers, and then you can look at the CAD after that. Pound dollar has been active, been loving the pound dollar lately. Weekly time frame, going to kind of run through this pound dollar, then maybe the Aussie dollar. We'll take a glance at the Euro Aussie. Pound dollar on the weekly. All right, so we've slowly been coming down. Obviously, the dollar has been strong, so we've slowly been trickling down. We made this move back up into this zone, completing, you know, closing out most of these orders before double topping and coming down. So this was a pretty good impulsive move, and I like this candle here. I like that candle there. It's got a little bit of an imbalance below it. But if you notice, prices come back up and closed everything out. This wick met this wick, closing out with small imbalance lag there. But we do have a little bit up here to look into. So we did break structure to the downside. We did pop up, and it looks like we were rolling over. But again, looking at the Euro USD, and I know this is not the Euro USD, but looking at the Euro USD, seeing that the dollar could weaken, I'm not going to be too excited about this rollover just yet. We also have this further downside block right here. And this is where the tricky part gets. Like, okay, this impulsive move right here that broke this structure, did it start here or did it start here? Is this the last down move before that up move, or is this the last down move before that up move? And that's something, you know, we're on a weekly time frame right now. So, you know, we can break this down and refine this. I like going to the lower one. A couple of reasons why. It's more conservative, especially on the higher time frame. So I like this. Let's go ahead and make it blue. Because this is the, an order block. Let's just start calling it that, I guess. An order block, or a POI, or a ZOI, or whatever. Zone. Price could easily come down if you want to look into the 50% mark of this box. Right there. This is where price could come down into before making its move back up to the upside. Breaking a little bit more structure here, but I think there's some imbalance and stuff that price is going to want to come up to. Oh, let me change this, because it's not an imbalance, it's a zone. There you go. So you could probably see something like this, maybe a little bit, maybe not this week, but next week we get some further downside movement, and then back up into here, right, on the shorter time frame. Next couple weeks, yeah. Let's go to the daily. All right. So daily is not looking much different than the weekly. You are getting this move up. We did tap into some of this price here before rolling back over. As you can see, look at this further imbalance right here. We can refine that if we wanted to, but I think I'm going to leave it alone. I still like this break of structure in this move to the downside. Price is going to have to, again, break through here. All right. Price is going to have to break down through here. If we do, we're coming down into this area and popping back up. If we don't, then we're going to take it. This is going to be a double bottom. Then we're going to look to break this structure and come to the upside. All right. So it's kind of a patience game, and just kind of seeing where, price may stop moving or whatever, especially when you're looking at the higher time frames. I'm not looking to take a trade. I just want to see where price is going. And then that makes me determine where I want to take trades in the direction of on lower time frames. 4-hour chart. Squeezing it in a little bit further. Okay. We do have some imbalance right there on the 4-hour. I kind of like. We have broken this structure here on the 4-hour. We are rolling over further. Could come back down. We are going to probably retest the bottom of this today, on the next day or so. We do have a little bit more right here that we could look into. This might be an area in which we could pull back for further down movement. Let's see. But 4-hour chart, not much difference other than this imbalance right there. I like that. It's a good place for price to come back to, tap into, and drop down. I like this zone to be hit. All right, we'll drop down a little bit closer because we did take a trade here yesterday, and I got stopped out by the spread. So when you're working with very small risk reward, all right, wait a minute, very small risk to a much larger reward, you're going to take little losses. Again, this wick right here is the Ukraine news right there. This looks very similar to the dollar, to the euro dollar. We had this nice impulsive move down. The euro dollar was more of a consolidation to the right like that, whereas the pound dollar was more of a retracement and then a break. But so I was still focusing right here on this last up move before the down move. As you can see, this impulsive move right here. I was focused right there. This is where my stop was above. We didn't actually hit my stop. The spread did. So, you know, you have a bid and an ask, and my stop was you know, in the middle of that spread, and I got taken out because on a short, you sell on the ask, or you buy back on the ask, you sell on the bid. So that's what happened. That's what happened here before, of course, this amazing move to the downside. You could also say if I went to a lower time frame, I might have gotten in a little bit too early, but I took this trade on the 5 minute based on this candle. I refined that zone, placed my buy order right there, and it came down, was looking decent, and then came back up, tagged me out before making the move that I wanted to make. My target was actually sitting, it was just below this imbalance here. To try and get 20 pips, but I was really actually looking at the top of this imbalance. So this was in the morning. I was managing this trade when I got up, but it is what it is. As soon as it got down in here, we started to kind of make this little retracement. Then you had this wick from the Ukraine news come back up. I could have gotten right back in, but I was not looking at the pound dollar at this time. This is where I was playing the Euro USD. I think I was just a little sour. Because I was stopped out by the spread here, and I didn't look back at it, and probably could have played this pound dollar trade right here the rest of the day and been very happy, but I didn't. So anyways, that was that trade on the pound dollar, and you'll see these trades later on. And if you do get in the webinar with me and Dean, I am going to be highlighting some of these trades because this happened at the exact time Euro USD trade happened. So say you are in a evaluation account and you can trade half lot, one lot, you know, whatever lot sizes. But let's just say you can trade at least one lot size. You could have taken a one lot trade on Euro USD, a one lot trade on pound dollar, and at the same time, this box right here, a one lot trade on the Aussie dollar, and then a one lot trade on the New Zealand dollar when this loads. Maybe. Well, that's never happened before. Need some like elevator music or whatever. Of course, it would do this when I'm going through. So we lost internet connection. What I was saying was at the time of the disconnection was that, let me move my face over here and get off the chart, the video. So, what I was saying at the time was Euro USD at this time, this orange box, pound dollar, this was at the same time, Aussie dollar, this was at the same time, and then the New Zealand dollar. All of these happened at the same time. Every single one of these setups happened at the same time. You could have entered each one of these trades relatively within the same 20 to 30 minutes. And you would have taken profit probably on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, depending on where your stop was. If it was a little bit larger than mine, you could have taken profit on the pound dollar. That one, you know, hit. And then you would have lost on the Euro USD more than likely because of the Ukraine news. Well, and the fact that it did retrace a lot higher than any of the other pairs, but you could have taken, you know, profits on those. And it's just correlation right there between these four pairs at that time. Normally it doesn't happen like that, but all four of them were making, you know, similar moves and creating a similar setup. And you could have taken trades like that on all four of those pairs. And I think I'm just going to end it right there. I know that I didn't go through Euro Aussie or Aussie dollar, and I had some pretty good setups on the Aussie dollar yesterday. I might do a trade recap on the Aussie dollar because I did not take this trade right here, but I did take this one and ended up making profit here. So I was profitable on this one and the second Euro USD trade for some pretty good pip amounts yesterday. After taking 2 straight losses, technically 3 straight losses on the pound dollar. I did not take the New Zealand dollar trade. I just noticed the setup, working my way through the different currency pairs that I look at. So, but I will definitely put together another video on these two trade recaps here, which, you know, would definitely, I think it would be educational. Anyways, I appreciate you hanging with me. And hopefully after I do this edit, the only reason you'll know about it is because I said it. Anyways, have a good rest of the weekend. I hope your weekend's awesome. Getting springtime here in Tennessee, although it's going to be cold. It's going to feel like early or late February over this weekend. It's going to suck. We've got softball tonight, softball over the weekend. Anyways, always remember to love life, live life, and trade it.